informed with Pacific Mornings.
Morning, it's currently 16 past 7. Welcome back to Pacific Mornings. You're with guest host Ala Vailala. Now, this morning we're joined by a young leader with big dreams and a deep connection to her community. At just 21 years old, Keeshan Te Waaka of Tongan and Māori descent is putting her name forward to represent the Tamaki nui-a-Rua Māori Ward on the Tararua District Council. With a strong core to dream big, Keeshan is hoping to inspire Kotahitanga, connection and a meaningful change. Welcome to the show, Keeshan. How are you this morning?
Good morning, I'm great. How are you? I hope you're doing well too.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. Now, hey, at your young age of 21, what made you want to run for the Tararua District Council?
Yeah, for me personally, I've always found that my calling has been to serve my people. I've done many, little things here and there around the community, um, to ensure our culture is represented in the community, and that our rangatahi and that our people's voice has been heard. And that's, I guess, exactly why I'm running this time around, is to ensure our voices are heard and that, there's somebody representing our voice in council.
Awesome. Now, hey, growing up Māori and Tongan in the good old Palmy, right? What experiences made you want to step into leadership?
So yeah, where I'm currently staying at the moment, Palmerston North is probably like a 20-minute drive now with our new road. So we are quite isolated. So we're 20 minutes from Palmy, which is probably our main city. Being Māori and Tongan has, yeah, it's influenced me heavily. I've always felt there wasn't many people to look up to in our small area. Um, and there wasn't much of a voice for us growing up. So yeah, I guess that's had huge influence on me standing.
Now, there's often the debate about whether Māori wards are effective or tokenistic. What's your take? Why did you decide to run for the seat?
Yeah, I feel like I've been quite fortunate. The groups and the people that I often surround myself in, I feel like I'm in my safe bubble, because Māori's our world. Being ourselves, that's my world. So I definitely see it plastered all over the media. So yeah, it's nobody's directly said that to me, but I know it's out there. I'm not naive in that sense. But for me, I feel like going back to the times before colonization, all these sorts of things, decisions for the people were made in our hapu or sub-tribe settings or as whānau. And, we were representing our own people at those tables. And I believe often council and government and things like that haven't always been made for Māori. So in these settings of decision making, Māori should always be on the table as tangata whenua. Yeah.
Good point. Now, do you feel Māori and Pasifika voices are heard in the Tararua District Council currently? What needs to change?
I'm just going to be honest, I don't think that our voices are heard. And that's because if you look at the majority of our council members at the moment, um, not many are Māori or Pasifika. And if they are, it's often we don't hear the advocacy. We know that the support's there, but I think that what needs to change is somebody who needs to be loud and vocal about being proud of being Pasifika or Māori. And that's exactly what I think I bring to the table. I'm proud. I love who I am.
I love that. And now, at just 21 years old, we were just talking about it earlier. At 21, I was not, running for council was not on my cards. But look at you, 21, you're probably one of the youngest candidates. How do you respond to people who might say you're too young or inexperienced?
Yeah, I think that being young might be actually one of my superpowers in this space. Some of my idols are the likes of Hana Rafferty and Timothy Paul, who are absolutely smashing it in government at a government level, and they are our voice, they are our representation, and they, if it wasn't for them, I know a lot of people my age would not be following um, government level decisions or anything government. Um, and inexperienced. I think that I've lived a completely different life to the people on council, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of them are, they've come from a completely different life than what I've come from. A lot of our council members are older, which I think is amazing. And I think that their voice definitely still needs to be in council representation and diversity. But I think that I have had a different life experience that they would, not exactly know. And rangatahi voice deserves to be heard as much as any other voice on the table.
What are the top 3 issues you hear from young people in your community, and how do you plan to bring those to the table?
Yeah, so one thing that I'm just going to talk about one thing because I feel like often it's quite a huge thing, and that's opportunities. So my campaign kōrero is Dream Big, and I feel that it's often been hard for rangatahi to dream big in an isolated community where often the goal is to get out. The goal is to leave here and go to bigger and better in the city because there's, limited opportunities or job things to do here. Even opportunities socially, how are we getting together? What are the things that are actually bringing us as youth together are not always the best influence, if you understand what I mean. So what I would like to see here and what, youth want here is more opportunities for work, more opportunities for education. If school is not for our kids, then we need to be giving them more. We need to be listening and knowing what do these kids want and prepare them for life.
Absolutely, and I think that's such I guess, especially in your generation, the message of getting out there, right? Even getting out of the country. So I'm really, really excited to see, how that goes along, and good on you for raising that issue. I think it's quite refreshing to hear that perspective too. And now, what are the key issues you're campaigning on?
I'd say misrepresentation or just not being represented at all. I feel like the main role for this job, I mean, it's only the second term of the Māori Ward seat in our district. So I think that, it's just the early stages of the role. And as the seat remains in council, which I'm hoping it's a referendum year, and I urge people to keep Māori wards, as the terms go on and on and on, so will the opportunities that the chair brings, or communities will start to see the position, and they will come forth. But at the moment in our community, not many people actually know about Māori wards. Not many people understand that the role of this position is for representation and to represent voice of Māori people. And that is something that I really want to push forward, especially with it being a referendum year, what the job is, to understand that I am a representation of your voice. And yeah.
What's your message to, I guess, voters in your council who will be voting on this referendum to keep Māori wards?
Yeah, I urge people to keep. It's just an opportunity for representation, and there's nothing wrong with having us on the table.
When you're looking at the ideal vision for your home city, what does it look like in 5 or 10 years?
So what I think it looks like is there's 1 million applications for Māori Ward. I'd love to see our people staying home because there's so many opportunities here. I'd love to see a kura kaupapa Māori in our district. My thing is dream big, and for me, I'd love to see more immersion in te reo Māori for our tamariki. I would love to see people, being proud. Yeah.
Do you feel like your current community is accepting of, I guess, te reo Māori? Do you feel accepted in where you are right now?
I do feel accepted, but also I'd like to just reiterate that I've been speaking Māori and being quite an advocate for Māori in my community since I was quite young. So when people see me in the community, they know. But for people who are in the beginning stages of their journey of reclamation and all those sorts of things, it can be a daunting place to start that journey. I know that. But yeah, I feel like I've got I've had a different upbringing, and I've been quite lucky to be raised by quite strong advocates for Te Ao Māori and for Te Reo Māori. So yes, I definitely feel like I've been safe here for the most part with my journey, but people starting, yeah, it can be quite daunting.
You've really touched on the opportunities and I guess keeping young people, uh, you know, in your hometown. What are you seeing on the ground? Perhaps like out of the people you went to high school with, how many of you still remain in the city that you're living in Palmerston North?
Yeah, my friend group is we love home, and I could tell you that most people in my circle anyway, their goal is to come back and serve the community, and I'm lucky to be surrounded by amazing friends like that and amazing people. But that's not the case for most of my friends. A few have moved away. I actually moved away for a little bit there. And of course, the conversations amongst my friend group is, to move to Australia. And that's just the reality, more opportunities, more money. And yeah, so it's quite sad. And I do feel that within the next 2 to 3 years, most of my friend group, although they really want to stay home and give back to their community as much as they can, um, Australia and opportunities in the bigger city are just so tempting. And I do feel like that's going to be the case for the next 2 or 3 years.
Talk a bit about your identity as both. I think this is very unique, Māori and Pacific, being Tongan. How does that influence the kind of leader that you want to be?
Being Tongan and Māori, and my dad's Croatian as well, it's everything for me. It's the exact reason why I'm in this position. It's my identity. I am so proud to be Māori and Tongan. A lot of the community here, it's not very Pacifica. Like there's very few Pacifica families here, and I'm often advocating a lot for Māori and kaupapa Māori, but I do let it known that I'm Tongan as well, and I've been extremely, extremely lucky to have grown up with my Tongan family in Auckland, who raised me, took me to Siastonga, took me to Tonga, all those sorts of things. So I have a really great understanding of who I am, and without that understanding, there's no way I'd be able to stand in these sorts of positions. Yeah.
Absolutely. Community is everything, right? Now, what advice do you have for other young Māori or Pasifika thinking about, getting into council as well? We don't really see a lot of our young Pacific and Māori people running for council. What's your advice to them about leadership, but also where to start as well?
Yeah, I totally understand. Everyone has their own superpowers. Um, One of the kōrero from my iwi and Ngāti Hine is that our leader Hine Amaru, she delegated jobs to people based on their strengths. And that's something that I think is very important. A lot of the times people just are unsure of their place when it comes to leadership. And honestly, my advice in that situation, you don't have to stand for council to be a leader. No way. This is just my way of giving back and something that I'm passionate about doing. But I'd urge people to find their little find your strengths, and go from there. It could be anything. You might be the best cook. You might be an amazing cleaner. The marae has taught me so much about leadership, and that everything at the front would not be able to happen without those at the back. It doesn't always have to be everyone at the front. Find your place. And if this is something that you're interested in and you're on the fence about it, talk to your community and talk to your family. Now, the first step I did before even applying for council was I went and talked to my family, our elders in the community. And yeah, because I would not be able to do this. I'm a mouthpiece for a lot of people. I'm not here just for myself. So yeah, go back to your elders, go back to your family, go back to your communities, talk to them about it, and you'll know. You'll know.
And also, I'm just interested to get your views on this one. I'm going to catch you off guard, but if you had we're talking about you're running for local government, but at a central government level, if you had one message to convey to them, or maybe one policy that's really been on your mind at the moment, what would your message be, or if you could make one policy change?
Wow, Hana Rāwhiti's actually just released a bill which pretty much focuses on um, the ability of government members to uphold the values and the kōrero of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Now, that is hugely important at that level and all the way down. If our leaders are able to have a standard and a solid understanding of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, it will trickle down throughout the country. And it's just needed. The regulatory standards bill is another one. We did a few submission workshops down here and for the Treaty of Waitangi Principles Bill. These things, they make me very sad. Reading and watching the hearings, it's really disheartening. But what's been absolutely beautiful is to see the Kotahitanga in the country, and it's there. And kai konei hoki mātou ngā rangatahi are here, and it's time for change. Basically, it's time for change.
Mahalo pito, Keeshan. That was Keeshan Te Waaka, who is going for the Tamaki Nui-a-Rua Māori Ward on the Tararua District Council. Thank you so much for your time. I've really enjoyed our talanoa.
Thank you very much, Ala. Ka kite.
Now, if you missed, ka kite. Now, if you missed any